Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Cucu Ardiansyah. I am a student of Master of Educational Technology, Khaldun University, Bogor. On this opportunity to deliver a presentation on the result of a literature study on online assessment on distance learning during the COVID-19 pandemic. In this literature study of the many ways of online assessment, only a few online assessment models can be applied by teacher in the distance learning process related to attitude assessment or affective, knowledge assessment or cognitive, and skill assessment or psychomotor. Before discussing what type of assessment can be applied to distance learning, as we all know that the COVID-19 pandemic condition in Indonesia have caused enormous change in education. Where previously the learning process was carried out conventionally or face-to-face in class, then currently to avoid the spread of COVID-19, the government has implemented a social distancing and physical distancing policy which has an impact on the implementation of learning that must be carried out from home. Based on Circular Letter Mendikbud number 4 of 2020 concerning implementation of education policies in emergency time spread of COVID-19, the learning process from home is carried out through online learning or distance learning. Distance learning is learning that is given to students by not gathering together in one place regularly to receive lessons directly from the instructor. Specific material and detailed instructions are sent or made available to participants who then carry out assignments that will be evaluated by the instructor. One way to implement distance learning is by e-learning or online learning. In conventional learning or traditional learning, student and teacher come face-to-face at the same time and place, namely in the classroom in direct learning activities and material delivery, and require the teacher role in the learning process. Whereas in distance learning, using the online learning method, student and teacher are not in the same place, and online learning make it possible for student and teacher to do learning at different times. In terms of delivery, it requires media to bridge between student and teachers. Due to separate distance, students are required to learn independently. In learning, there are three things that must be prepared by the teacher. Both learning is carried out conventionally and online in the concept of distance learning, namely planning, implementation, and assessment. In the implementation of distance learning, one of the difficulties of the teacher is in conducting online learning assessment. From the various assessment techniques, how do we apply these assessment techniques to online learning assessment? According to Permendikbud RI number 23 of 2016 concerning educational assessment standards, assessment of student learning outcomes in primary and secondary education include aspects, attitudes or affective, knowledge or cognitive, and skills or psychomotoric. So there are three aspects that must be assessed by teacher: attitude, knowledge, and skills. Attitude assessment or affective is an activity to assess the spiritual and social behavior tendencies of students in everyday life inside and outside the classroom as a result of the learning process. Assessment technique in attitude assessment include observations, namely the assessment carried out by the teacher by observing the behavior of students using observation sheets. Then, self-assessment, where students are asked to assess themselves, and the last technique, assessment between friends, where assess each other's attitude during the learning process. Knowledge assessment or cognitive is an assessment carried out to determine student mastery, which includes factual, conceptual, and procedural knowledge, as well as low to high level thinking skills. The technique in assessing knowledge include written tests consisting of objective tests such as multiple choice, true or false, matchmaking, and short entries, and subjective tests or essay tests, and then oral tests, assignment, and portfolios. Skill assessment or psychomotor is an assessment carried out to determine the ability of students to apply knowledge in thinking, to perform certain tasks in acting in various contexts according to indicator of competency achievement. Appraisal techniques in skill assessments are performance, project, and portfolio. In the assessment of attitude for online learning in distance learning, teachers can use self-assessment techniques. This technique can be implemented using Google Form or the like. The teacher makes a form for attitude item that can be filled in with the option yes, no, never, sometime, often, always, or with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. The implementation can be done once a semester. This is an example of a spiritual and social attitude assessment form. In the assessment of knowledge, computer-based tests or CBT can be used, especially an objective test such as multiple choice. CBT is a test that is carried out using a computer or smartphone. Example of CBT application for assessment be Smart CBT, Woka CBT, Isem Caraka. This is a CBT developed by Dirjen GTK Kemdikbud, learning management system such as Moodle. The following is an example of using CBT Moodle for the implementation of penilaian akhir semester in one of the junior high school in Bogor Regency. In the aspect of skill assessment, teachers can carry out digital portfolio assessment for students. The portfolio assessment itself basically assesses the work of individual learners in one period for a sub-term. In digital portfolio assessment, portfolio can be in the form of documents, photos, audios, and videos that are stored using online cloud storage media. For example, Google Drive, creating blogs, uploading to Instagram, or uploading to YouTube and other platforms that can store participant work studied online. That is what I can explain about online assessment in the affective, cognitive, and psychomotor domains on these occasions. Hopefully, this can be usable. Apologies if there are errors in the delivery of the contents of this presentation. Suggestion and criticism can be written in the comment column. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.